Hey, welcome to Watchman Waiting on the Lord. I changed my name. I put Watchman ahead of it so it was more easily, so people could see it easier when they're looking stuff up about God. Um, Today is March 9th or 10th. I don't even know actually. Um, I've grown closer with God over the past year. There's some things I want to say. Before I get at anything, I hope everyone's doing well. My name is David. We are saved not of works, but through God's grace. Jesus shed his blood in the most brutal pain that you can imagine for a prolonged amount of time. He saved us already, so all we have to do is believe. All we have to do is believe him, what he did for us, and we're saved. So that's not of works, and as I always say, always help people if you can. I encourage that. When I made this channel, okay, I want to say first, when I made this channel, of course, like I want 10,000 subscriptions, right? Like who doesn't want that when they're making a channel? And I started making videos, and my belief is of the rapture, the pre-tribulation rapture. I'm going to tell you what happened. I told you I believe that, and then all of a sudden I didn't. But I do in my heart, okay? In my heart, I do. I'm kind of caught between two spaces. I know the wording that, yeah, I know the Bible terms. I know like the last trump and at the trump. It's not the judgment trumpets that they're talking about. I know that, and I know this is supposed to be an imminent event. I've read over everything. But as I started making videos, and someone said to me, what if it isn't? And it's not that it's my unbelief, okay? I believe in Jesus Christ, and that's good enough. There should never be a divide between people at all who believe in Jesus Christ, right? But as this person said, they had a very good point. And what if it wasn't? If it wasn't, and I'm here telling you it is. And I know we're not appointed to wrath. It does say that, and God can't lie. So I didn't want to lead people in a place where they weren't ready for a possible tribulation. And so when I changed my tune, people started unsubscribing to me. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. If I can reach more than 10 to 20 people, that's good if they're really listening to me. So in my heart, I believe in the pre-tribulation rapture from everything I've read. And when I said Seventh-day Adventist, I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist. It's the principles. It's looking into the Catholic Church that convinced me. And the 1200 and 1200 and I forget what it is, 1260, 1335, 2300 day prophecy, that really sits in with me, and I believe it. So I'm caught in between those two spheres. Also, I want to say this is an autistic view, okay? I have autism, and I have other mental health disorders, and I suffer with a lot of pain. I have 12 pain disorders, and so I'd like to give you that kind of view. People who come and blame and say, and I let this bug me at first, but I don't care. Come and call you a false teacher and stuff. That bugged me at first, and it made me think of what I was doing. All I'm doing is sharing my life with you. I'm not teaching you, and if I read articles and stuff doesn't mean I'm teaching you. The people who wrote those articles are the people who are teaching. So those types of people, there are many things in the Bible that were prophesied that didn't have a name. Okay, it says, you know, there's harpazo, right? But does it say there's going to be a rapture? Did Jesus say there's going to be a rapture? No, he didn't say that. But also, all throughout the Bible, there are prophecies that came true, hundreds of them. They didn't have names either. So why do people have to come at you in a certain way? So just not let those people bother me. What else did I want to say? So in my heart, I believe in the pre-tribulation rapture from all the evidence that I've read. And I don't want to propose that evidence because I just, you know, God's watching, you know that, right? And you don't want to say the wrong things, and I want everyone nonetheless to be prepared for some tribulation, at least for some. Thank you for the prayers. I asked some people to pray for my gallbladder because I need my gallbladder out. 2 years after I got my Moderna shot, my gallbladder, it's like walking around with pancreatic cancer. I can't touch that area. My gallbladder is aching right through my back all the time. Anyways, thank you for the prayers back because I got an appointment. And so I just hope to get it out and return back to normal. I'm so nervous in these videos, man. There's something I want to raise, and this, you know, everything I talk about, no matter what it is, has some biblical attachment to it. I'm sharing this with my other YouTube channel today, so they can come over and subscribe if they want, because I know some people are religious. I don't like saying religious, believe in God, the only God. I'm going to tell you the way some people are, okay? And they likely have mental health issues. Well, they have to if they're like this. I'm going to tell you something. Through my life, okay, since I was in junior high school, I've been stalked by people, mostly women, either phone, even outside, it doesn't matter. I have been stalked. I know what it's like. And it's no different on my videos, okay? It's no different. You know, these days people can follow you. I'm going to get at my point. With all the things I'm suffering from, and I'm not using that to make you feel sorry for me, okay? I just want you to imagine if you're dealing with the things that I'm dealing with, and even not just, you're just a normal everyday person. I've been making videos, and like I know how many subscribers I have, okay? And I don't want to become reactionary, okay? This is, I'm saying this because I'm telling you the way some people are. Give me one sec. Imagine all you're trying to do is go out and help people. That's all you're trying to do. And say you have 100 subscribers, okay? This is what someone has been doing. You know, I have enough subscribers that you can tell if someone subscribes. There's been a person been following me for about 4 years. And it has to be 1 or 2 people. I make a video, okay? I make a video. Say my subscriber count is at 700. When they get the notification, it goes down to $6.99 right away, and then $6.98. And then over a period of 1 or 2 days, it goes back up. Someone is following me for years now. And I have to, like, I know that these people, I'm telling you the way people are in society, likely narcissistic personality disorder, something like that. They go way out of their way making several accounts, right? More than one account, just so they can hurt you. It doesn't hurt me. I started looking at it and started to think about it. Why would people do this? What kind of person is this? And they're the types of people that the Bible says that their conscience is seared with a hot iron. And I know you're watching me, whoever does that. So go look it up in the Bible. Ask God into your heart. I don't understand why you or whoever is doing it. It's probably more than one person. Why are you doing it? Like, what's the point? I don't know what you get out of it. Is it the reaction? Is it me talking about it? And these are the types of people that can never be alone and can't introspect. They follow your videos and you wonder, like, I have a channel, okay? I don't want to talk about this all day, but I have another channel, and I wondered, how did they find this one? Because I said nothing on my other channel, and it came over and did the same thing. So what are they doing? Looking at who I subscribe to, my liked, because people can follow you on those things. This is what we're dealing with in society, and there's many people like this in society, and it's just another reason why we are getting close to the end. The people who are doing this, I know you watch us, I'm asking you, ask yourself why you're doing it. Like, okay. I'm going to get to some news here. In another video, maybe if I have enough time in this, I'm going to read to you Martin Luther's 95 thesis points that he nailed to the door, because of the Council of Trent or whatever it is, or I don't know if the Council of Trent was after he nailed that to the door and they made their canon laws or whatever. I'm going to read you why Martin Luther, he put up 95 points against the Catholic Church, and boy is it ever convincing. I read them yesterday and they're great. See if I can get to some today. They are understandable versus the canon laws, which aren't. Pardon me a sec. They made the canon laws as hard to understand as can possibly be. I watch Watchmen channels, and I just want to say this, like, I'm not blaming anyone. But, since the East Palestine train wreck, and God bless the people who can't sell their homes, right? Now they're reporting, each time there's a train disaster. There is sabotage happening. There's no doubt about that. But the stats say that there's 1,000 train wrecks a day, per year. So there's 3 train wrecks per day. So it's easy for people to jump to conclusions and start putting all of them. Think of how big the United States and Canada is, and how much railroad tracks and how many railroad engines there are. They go off the tracks every single day, like 3 times per day. That's what the stats say. The question is, how bad, right? If things keep poisoning rivers and doing all that type of stuff, then there's an issue. And it's not hard. How easy would it be for me to go out and derail a train? I think I could do it probably within a half an hour if a train was coming. It wouldn't be that hard, and no, I'm not saying I would. 150 people who were in the forest beside a police training facility. They were in a forest and they didn't even go after them. Attacked a $90 million, I think they were building it at the time, police training station. Defund the police. Being built with fireworks, they did it with fireworks and rocks and whatever else they had. What are they thinking? That is the reprobate mind. That's as stupid as attacking an army base. From what I heard, they were all camped in the woods, and so these are real terrorists. Those are terrorists. That's the definition of a terrorist. That's not a vandal. That's a terrorist. This is communism, and they're being fooled into doing things because they don't know God. This is because they weren't taught things by their parents, or either they have one parent or no parents. I'm not saying people with one parent are all bad. This I find interesting. After the earthquake, now there are millions of caterpillars. And there's a pestilence going on in Turkey with millions of caterpillars, seemingly just after the earthquake. You can look for the videos on YouTube. It's strange, to be honest. It sounds like a movie script, like the earth opened up and let them out. I wonder if so many aftershocks have caused it. You know, all the vibrations, you know, when they talk about snakes and vibrations makes them come out. But if you ask me, I think it's God. I also heard on Watchman River today that it was raining worms in Beijing, and I saw the picture he showed, and those are big worms, man. Raining worms. Pardon me, I'm going to take a sip of water here. The U.S. is bringing Ukrainians to train on F-16 simulators. Unless they're provided with 1,000 of them, I don't see the point. What's the point, man? To defend their skies like their country is like Syria. Putin will just destroy them. A peace settlement needs to begin. When I look at the entire political picture of the Biden administration, I see and only hear lies. Many are saying it's collapsing under its own weight, the U.S. A country divided against itself cannot stand, and Jesus said those very words. You know, I looked because I like looking at U.S. political news, and that January 6th thing, boy, man, they were just absolutely caught in lies. Why did the Democrats do this? You know, if you ask me, you know, when you look at like Hitler regime, Mussolini regime, you know, these people were straightforward, right? They just went, they told you what they thought, and they went and did what they wanted. You know, war, they hated Jews, they hated Christians, they hated mentally ill people. If you look at what's happening in U.S. politics, the deception is they're lying to their own people on their own side. They're lying to the people. It's never been like this. There's never been a time of deception as bad as there is right now. Why are they lying? This, and I just saw Tucker Carlson today, and thank God for him showing these things. It doesn't mean I agree fully with him, but they said for what 2 or 3 years that there were 5 murdered police officers on January 6th. None of them were murdered. Why would they do that? It turned out some of them commit suicide, but afterward, it had nothing to do with it, I think, but a lot of deception. The person who predicted the earthquake in Turkey supposedly also predicted one in California, or that region. I also heard them say that another earthquake in the same area of Turkey, Syria. I know these are the birth pains. Why are there so many aftershocks? I've never heard so many aftershocks in my life. Try to do this as quick as I can because there's a... Listen to this cyclone still going. There's a cyclone in the Pacific. I don't know exactly where it has traveled, but since February 19th, Madagascar braces for a cyclone. It's traveled like a level 5 hurricane typhoon. upgraded to very intense tropical. Actually, no, I'm not going to cover this. It's traveled like 4,000 kilometers, and it's still going right now. Only one in history. 4,000 miles across the ocean over past 2 weeks, and it's 1,000 miles off the coast of Madagascar. So only one has ever been longer, traveled 7,000 kilometers in 1994. But it's another sign, right? 1994 still wasn't that far away. In 31 days in 1994, Typhoon John tracked more than 7,000 miles in 31 days in the Pacific, so far west that it was also considered a typhoon because it existed in the east and west basins of the Pacific Ocean. Just like the question of why doesn't God destroy the devil, someone said, I finally understand that now that you say that. I said in another video. I came across another question that really never gets answered. Who the Antichrist will be? Not that I'm looking to see who he is, and if you believe in pre-tribulation, you're not looking for that, but it's still interesting. I watch DTB and Discover Book Ministries explain. He believes, and so do I, the devil has in every single generation, and at all times, a person in the wings for when the restrainer is removed. Think about it. The devil doesn't know when the restrainer will be removed, so he needs to have someone ready at all times. So if you think about it, there has been hundreds of them, like Adolf Hitler, Hannibal, Nero, Maximus Decimus Meridius. No, I'm just kidding about that one. That's Gladiator. There have been many of them. The devil is ready and aggressively wanting that Holy Spirit removed, and us, the church. Also, another question that never gets answered is, does the devil own the earth or the Lord? The Lord does, but the devil does now. It's hard to explain, right? Why? Why? Because when Satan tricked Eve and then Adam gave in, that let Satan take over the world. The world was supposed to be ours. That's what happened. So that's why he has this power right now. It's a pretty simple explanation, isn't it? He usurped that power. I just finished watching Amir Sarfati, and when Israel will attack Iran, man, it's gonna happen any day. They said they have enough uranium for 3 bombs. They keep saying, oh, whatever amount of days. I heard 3 bombs from him. So we're so close. He shows there bunkers and caves in the valleys and mountains close to Israel. Nothing can penetrate these bunkers less if they can make a Moab, mother of all bombs, a bunker buster. Israel has tens, if not hundreds of thousands of missiles and rockets aimed at them. Iran, not Israel, is the real global problem. When they talk about how good it would be if Israel wasn't around for the world, think about it. It's the opposite. Because Iran threatens everyone. It threatens the world. We know what they want. Not the Iranian people, but the regime and the hardline Islam. How big is... Oh, so this is interesting. How big will the millennial kingdom be, like the New Jerusalem? 12,000 furlongs, which is 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles by 1,500 miles high. So where I live right now in the capital of Canada, so look on a map when I say this, I live in Ottawa. From Ottawa, so Ontario, from Ottawa to Florida is 1,500 miles. I don't know, it's 2,300 kilometers. Think about that. That's pretty big. The globalists won't get to join either with a really low population, if you know what I mean. It's a lot of space. It's so nice to think of what it would be like, to be there. What are we going to be doing? What are our jobs going to be? Like all that type of stuff. A government, where exactly will you live? Close to Jesus? Democrat versus Republican in the United States. That's a good thought, isn't it? No matter who is right and who is wrong in the States. Okay, and so I'm on the conservative side. I just am. But this is just a revolving door of what's happening. I understand completely that it's not the Republicans causing so much damage, but it's just a game of who done it and blame. I know Fox News has to report whatever bad things the Democrats are doing. The far left, maybe it's time to take a better approach, a propaganda approach, I was going to say. They're doing that. It's so easy to get lost in all the things of the back and forth. There's no good news to report, is there? I heard they're going to go say a prayer, by the way, for your U.S. border. You hear Trump. I heard Trump today saying that they'll go after them completely. I think they're saying they want to go after these cartels. Pray to God that they do. There's a lot of people dying. There's a lot of bad stuff going on there, and they're very, very rich. They're like 10 times as rich as they were before all this stuff started to happen. They're very powerful now. They have to take them out. The title of this video is going to be about electronics, and I don't know what the title is going to be now, but I'm passionate about this topic because I've witnessed the damage it's created in this world. At the inception of portable devices like phones in the late 1990s, I knew right then that it couldn't last long. I could feel in the late 90s that privacy was being sacrificed, and I could see back then how far it would go. I could see it, and has. Listen to this before I even go further. I was looking at weaponized robots, okay? Yesterday, they are very advanced now. They can do flips, they can... You know the Terminator T-1000? The one that can go melt itself and go through bars? Look it up on YouTube if you don't believe me. It exists right now. They have a robot that can melt its skin and go through bars and keep its contents inside it. It's crazy. If you don't believe me, look at Gravitas News, you know, the India. It exists. You ever wonder that maybe they were, when they bring movies and they show these things, maybe they're the actual truth? It exists. That robot exists right now. Imagine 50 years. There's not going to be 50 years, but imagine 50 years. And where did I see that? I'll tell you where I saw that. Go to yesterday's Watchman, The Watchman. He has 333,000 subscribers. I have a good memory. It was on his thing yesterday. It will show you all about robotics. So I could feel in the late 90s that privacy was being sacrificed, and I could see back then how far it would go. Everyone had to have one, like a phone. I remember thinking that, so I have autism, okay? I don't care. I'm the type of person who doesn't need these types of things, but I'll just one sec here. I remember thinking that when I'm with someone, that they're rude for talking, for taking calls when they're in private places, you know, like, or texting. If you go on a date with a person, and the person is flipping or texting through their phone, just leave. That couldn't be ruder. It ruined in many respects focus on one thing with a person or having a good time without them. Imagine being in a forest, going on a nice walk with someone, and they're like, just hold on a sec. Sure, we had Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari, but honestly, I didn't think it affected kids like today. The games are much different. I remember that. I remember the very video game that set the standard for the rest following, which was, I forget the Grand Theft Auto, that's it. You go around stealing and jacking people's cars. People thought it was funny, but I remember, because I believed in God, that I didn't think it was. That might sound funny, but you won't laugh when you see where it led. Kids are on games pretending they're superheroes, speaking with one another like you would be on the battlefield. And they're even in teams. You can go on teams. You can speak to each other, through the I forget the name of it right now, but the things you put on your head. You can build armies of real people in such a real space. This led to virtual reality, and where they went, or where they want you, is in the cloud. Upload your consciousness. It makes many think of Revelations when you search for death and cannot find it. Although I use a laptop, I don't like electronics, and I don't use smartphones unless I really need it for an emergency. My dad and brother, I have a brother and my dad who are like that too. Just don't really use them. For reading, writing, and communicating is good, but everything else is a distraction. Because I'm sick, I go to many appointments at the hospital occasionally, like at my doctor's office or whatever. When I go, I see about 75, I always look, 75% of a waiting room of about 30 to 50 people with their heads down. It's the same outside, people walking. It's strange to see. Why do people need to be constantly talking and connected? Has life gotten that unbearable? I know what it's like when the power goes out and everything goes offline. So because I'm sick, it's good to have a computer and have my banking and everything on. It is good. Society is in a position where if the power goes out, literal death will occur if off for too long. That's why an EMP would be catastrophic and likely. The question is more when than if. Have electronics made our lives better? Yes, in some ways. And we're at the point now where life would be very hard without them. It would take time to get used to not having them. I mean, things that were created after the year 2000. So anything before that, I think, was okay. Like your telephones and stuff. Let's be honest, electronics, every time they get more advanced, we become more maladaptive. I heard a funny comment from Watchman River guy, Tom. He said, when Jesus returns, he'll see us with wires hanging off our bodies. Can you imagine it being like, what the hell? Just give me a second. I'll look at my time here. I don't have time to do any thesis points. Maybe I'll actually read. I'll try to read. So I talked about the border. You know what? Pray. I'm going to tell you about prayer very quickly. You wonder why you pray and sometimes it doesn't get answered, or you even pray 10 times it doesn't get answered. You have to keep praying, and you pray for people who really need prayer that likely have never got a prayer before. So what I'm speaking about here is in the book of Daniel. It took 21 days of prayer and fasting. And finally, when the angel got through and said to Daniel, "You are, you're favored," or whatever, you're in God's favor. The angel said, "I couldn't get through for 20 days." So that means he had to pray for 21 days for his prayer to be answered. So keep praying, right? My gallbladder, I prayed. I called the same place, even though they said when I first called them like 9 months ago, because I lost one of my doctors because he retired because I forgot to book his surgery hours. Boy, that put me out. They said it was going to be over a year. Up to 18 months. Or sorry, a year and a half. 18 months. But I kept calling them and I said, I can't imagine why people would be ahead of me in line. I just kept calling, praying, and I asked you guys to pray, and they called me back. So, I'm not going to say a prayer, but I pray for everyone. I'm going to read just one of these, Martin Luther, because I'm going to make another video. I'm going to tell you what they mean. Number 1, when our Lord and Master Jesus Christ said, repent, he called for the entire life of believers to be one of penitence. Number 2, the word cannot be properly understood as referring to the sacrament of penance. Example, confession and satisfaction, as administered by the clergy. I pray for everyone in this room today. I will come back and I'll read the 95 thesis points and I'll tell you what indulgence means, because it's very important. Have a good day. The Lord is coming soon, and I know it.